So let's go ahead and get to a little bit of tech. Now, we started last week's show with the Facebook outage. That is, what consumed the majority of our show, talking about Facebook. And can you believe it that they had another outage? Not as big as the one they had on October 4th, which is last Monday, a week ago today. They had another outage on Friday last week. It's like, what is going on with Facebook? Now, this is one that probably wouldn't even get mentioned. It wasn't huge. It was only, I think maybe close to a couple of hours, and it just affected a couple of things. But it's like, yeah, they have some issues going on over there. But since we did spend so much time talking about Facebook, they did put out an explanation. So I kind of want to just let everybody know what was going on with Facebook.
What
So
they
if you have
claim
not heard the
was
show,
going on.
yeah, see, well, yeah. We'll let you speculate in a second, but Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, Messenger, and even Facebook's internal systems were down for about 6 hours last Monday, October 4th. We actually recorded our show while we were in the midst of this outage. So Facebook stated on the official engineering.fb.com blog that, and I'm just going to read this quote here: our engineering teams have learned that configuration changes on the backbone routers that coordinate network traffic between our data centers caused issues that interrupted communication. This disruption in network traffic has had a cascading effect on the way our data centers communicate, bringing our services to a halt. And to a halt, they did come. It was
And the
it
thing
was
about that too was that the fail safe that was supposed to protect against that also did not work, which is why I'm kind of like, because you got data centers all around the world, cables underground, underwater, under the sea, everywhere. Like the redundancy that's built into those type of systems, so that something like this doesn't happen, this type of catastrophic failure doesn't happen, is a lot. And then the thing that's supposed to catch it, it. I don't know. I just think this is I still just think this is a convenient excuse for
So, so
something
let
else.
so let me give you a new speculation that my homegirl Nika Monfort, she's a co-host of our other podcast. She brought up a new conspiracy theory that I like the most out of all the ones I've heard. So she said the reason why Facebook had this big outage and maybe subsequently this smaller outage later in the week was because they were trying to not necessarily cover their tracks, but plug any sort of holes that they had in their own security that allowed this whistleblower to get this data out of Facebook.
Right.
Like I said, she had 20 some thousand
Right.
documents. I'm pretty sure she didn't print those on the printer where she was at and escorted those out in a briefcase. She did some. I want to believe that she did some, movie type,
Some sort of hacking.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
She was
stick a thumb
cracking the
drive,
code.
yeah, stick a thumb drive in the computer, download the
Right.
stuff before the
Right.
guy walked in and covered it up and, swallowed it just to get it out of Facebook, right?
Not swallowed it.
but she said, Nika said that the reason why they went this big outage is because they used that as cover to figure out, all right, how does she get this data out? What security patches we need to block? Make sure we put extra layer of community to figure out
Mhm.
that, make sure it won't happen again, and also maybe put some trackers or some low
Yep.
jack on some people's computer that they may have
Well,
helped
that's
their
why their whole
accomplices. Go
campus
ahead.
was out, like in
Uh-huh.
addition to the outage we all experienced,
Hmm.
just as users of the platform, the building was on lockdown to where, people had to get escorted, engineers had to get escorted into areas so that they could fix it because, badges and key cards wasn't working. That might be the one I go with. Like I have my own little conspiracy theories last week, but that sounds very, very plausible. Very, very plausible. Because you would have to
so
take the entire system down.
Hmm.
let me just say, this is what Facebook is saying happened. Now there are numerous post-mortem articles out all over the internet that you can find if you want to get into the ones and the zeros of what happened. But long story short, someone made a configuration change. That configuration changed disabled the internet from contacting Facebook data centers and disabled
Going
Facebook's data
to
centers
the
from contacting each
right.
other. So there wasn't a nuclear bomb that went off somewhere. There wasn't like, a truck, or train, derailed and ran into their primary data center. This was I guess I can
One of
say
their
user
own,
error,
basically.
or
One of their own
someone did
taking the system
something,
down.
and they're saying that there was nothing nefarious and
I
all those
like
kind of things.
Nika's.
But
I think Nika hit it. I think Nika solved it, because
I'm just
that makes
reporting
a lot of
what
sense.
Facebook said.
That
So
makes a lot of sense.